All right, race fans, take two. Take two. Obviously, I can't count. So, episode 279 of the One to Go show. As always, Ryan Aho, your host. And we have a former track champion over at the Proctor Speedway, former national championship crew chief, my old right hand man. We got Changa in the house. How the hell you doing?
I'm good.
Hockey season is here. You're about to get really busy really soon.
Very happy about it.
I know, 'tis the season. That's like Christmas coming early there for Changa there, Bert. He's all in on hockey. And how old is your little guy there? What is he in Bantams this year?
He's in Bantams. He'll be 13 next month.
All right. So pretty cool. You're about ready to get rolling there. And how's the wife doing? How's Teresa doing? She moving around a little bit yet, or?
Well, not really moving around, but absolutely sick and tired of being cooped up. Wants something to do.
Yeah, sometimes you kind of think back, it's nice to have somebody wait on me all the time. And then she's pretty independent, though. So I'm thinking she's kind of sick of not being able to do things for herself. That's for sure. And then we have the former tear off extraordinaire for MJ McBride, former editor of the Full Throttle magazine, race fan extraordinaire from Eastern Wisconsin, Bert Lehman. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Right now, riding the high of the first two Brewer wins against the Cubs in the baseball Major League Baseball playoffs. So we're recording this on Tuesday night. They play the Cubs on Wednesday. Hopefully, they can just put an end to this series on Wednesday and move on to the next round.
All right, Bert, repeat after me. Go Cubs, go. Go Cubs, go. Isn't that their song? I live down in the Chicago area now, so hey Chicago, what do you say? Oh, clearly the Cubs aren't going to win today, right? Yeah, the Brewers are
I
having
didn't,
one hell of a season, that's for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
I didn't even realize baseball was still a sport.
Yeah, this is probably the most fun I've had following the Brewers in an entire season. 2018 in the playoffs was
Yeah,
fun.
it's still America's pastime. It might not be America like United States of America. It's South America, Central America. It's America's pastime. It's a little bit of all of the above. But hockey season here, Changa. I know you're jacked up. You're excited.
I
Racing
know. So
season
let's get
never
this done.
ends.
There's games on.
There's games on. There's hockey games on. Was it preseason?
Opening night for the
Oh,
NHL.
yeah, it's
Oh,
opening
gee.
night.
It's about like the frickin' baseball season and dang near the racing season. Like the season can't get any longer. It's absolutely that's why I like football. I'll just go with football. So let's get into it. Episode 279 brought to you by Impact Health Sharing. So if you are somebody that pays for your own health insurance, or maybe you have a small business, maybe you have a handful of employees, you're a single person, couple, family, whatever it may be, if you're looking at your bottom line every month and you're thinking I'm paying way too much for health insurance, or maybe your deductibles are crazy high, so you're afraid to go to the doctor because you can't afford the deductibles, I have an alternative for you. It's called Impact Health Sharing. Kind of sweeping the nation. It's been, coast to coast. It's been fantastic, saving people thousands of dollars every single year. You can go to any provider you want. Hit me up 218-969-1380, or shoot me a message or anything on Facebook. Get a hold of me. I'll get you a free no obligation quote. See if Impact Health Sharing can help you out. So let's not a lot of racing, so we're going to forego the studs and duds. Kind of run through the synopsis. We're going to talk our top stories of the week, talk a little national championship battles here. We're going to get into. I got a few fan questions we're going to talk about, and then of course we're going to get into the nitty gritty. We got our points, our bold predictions, and you name it. So let's start with our top stories of the week. And in Wissota country right now, number one top story without question, damage control. That's what I'm going to call it. So, as everybody knows, a week back, Red Clay Classic, 50th annual, Steve Stewart, impressive win from the eighth row in the Super Stocks, disqualified after a teardown post race tech. And there was so much he said, she said, what's going on? What's actually illegal about it? Does anybody really know what the deal is? Well, long story short, I had an opportunity to talk to Steve. Steve went down. He actually met with Tom Wagaman. He looked at the heads. Obviously, he's not happy to be DQ'd, but he's satisfied with how Wasota handled it. They showed him exactly what was wrong with the heads, and long story short, the disqualification was upheld. Now, here's where it gets crazy, guys. Is I have several sources that have reached out to me from Wasota, tech officials, multiple people. This particular infraction was something you could not see without pulling the intake valve right out of the head. Very difficult to see it. If you really, really knew what you were looking for, maybe you could kind of see it with a scope, but you really had to pull a valve out to see it. Well, a set of these heads came across another builder, took a look at them over a year ago, and they're like, these just don't look right. They got a hold of Wasota allegedly, and from my sources, I think they're pretty good. But according to my sources, they Adams was made clear, and this ain't Dave Adams, it's Adams Automotive. He don't own it anymore. But Adams Automotive was made clear that if a set of heads that look like this came through tech, they weren't going to be legal. Well, lo and behold, over a year later, somebody went through tech, disqualified. Well, I talked to several people that have their engines, and there's been a lot of phone calls this past week going both ways. Hey, is my stuff legal? And the other way, like, hey, I'm not sure if your stuff is legal. Bring your stuff down. So a lot of people are bringing their stuff back down there. They're having it looked at, and they're like, if they're bad, he's replacing their heads. Sounds like he's kind of covering all the expenses and all that. But holy crap, guys, what a shit show! I mean, I don't want to bang on Todd at Adams. I've always got along with them, and I've had Adams Automotive engines in the past. They got a good reputation. They probably have the most engines, especially in the two barrel classes, all throughout Wasota. It's probably not even close. I was surprised to hear this. I'm not an engine guy. I did see what was wrong. There was material removed where it wasn't supposed to be. I don't know how much of an advantage that makes. It must make some, otherwise they wouldn't do it, right? But A, are you surprised? And B, Changa, I'm gonna ask you, if you were a guy that just kind of raced part-time, right? Maybe you didn't race for points, you top five guy sometimes, but probably feel like you're not going to tear it out. Would you even bring your stuff back, or would you be like, fuck it, I'm good?
I'm totally bringing it back because I'm going to get a free valve job if nothing else. Maybe some new valve springs. He's going to set me up with a new set of heads free of charge. I'm bringing her back for sure.
Does this surprise you?
Um, I don't know. I mean, how many? Without knowing how many of them are that way, who asks for them to be that way? I mean, how do you really know? I mean, engine builders do what they're paid to do. In a lot of cases, sometimes they also try to push the envelope to make their stuff really fast and sell more engines, right? So I ain't gonna point any fingers either way because I just don't have that knowledge. But no, I'm not surprised. This is racing. We've been doing this forever, and this is nothing new.
Yeah, I guess I'm a little surprised that you would just randomly just kind of be doing something that you're not supposed to be doing, especially after you've been called out by Wasota for it. That kind of surprises me. Bert, your thoughts?
Well, I was just gonna. How much does it cost to tear down a driver?
$300.
I mean, in your opinion, do you think that next year there may be more teardowns of Adams engines?
Nope.
I don't think so.
Okay.
The reason I don't think so is I believe that there's enough communication going on now with his customers that he's like, all right, look, we're gonna make this right, and hey, shit happens, I mean, some of the best in the racing world, right, have been caught illegal or done stuff that's kind of crossed the line. It just is what it is. But I really feel bad for Steve, of course. I mean, like he told me, he goes, hey, there's way worse things in life. I'm gonna choose to just kind of move on. I mean, he goes, I'm bummed out. Yeah, I wanted to win the 50th annual, right? But at the end of the day, there's a lot worse things to worry about than that. We'll just kind of pick up the
Well,
pieces, move forward. But there's just not many teardowns in general, right? I bet if you looked across the board on a yearly basis, I don't think it even gets into double digits throughout all of Wasota. So it's very uncommon. And I think the only time you see a teardown is at the end of the year when it's a points battle and you're like, I'm gonna tear down the winner. The thing probably that surprises me the most is I feel like Kurt was probably thinking he was gonna tear down Shane. I don't know that. I didn't confirm that. But I'm kind of thinking that he should have probably just it is what it is. But
Well,
if you're gonna instead of tearing on the winner, why not just tear on the guy that you wanted to tear down? Is kind of my thoughts.
well, yeah. I mean, what the way the teardown was implemented, he wasn't actually going after a specific driver, because you don't know who's going to win the race. I mean,
Yeah,
you
he
can,
wasn't. Yeah, he wasn't going after Steve Stewart starting eighth
right,
row. I can
right,
tell you that. Um, but let's face it. You look at the lineup. You see the 7A and the super stock starting in the front two rows.
right.
I think that was kind of the thought process there. Is if I can get him, which I don't think Shane's illegal anyway.
I mean,
But
if you're going to
if you could
attach your
get
name to
him,
the teardown, what the hell? I mean, you might as well just pick your guy, right?
that's my thought. Yeah, I
They used to
I
do the
think
silent protest, and I don't think they even do that anymore, do they?
no, that's not a thing. So to end this topic, I will say this. Okay, ultimately, the engine was deemed illegal. It is what it is. Okay, that is there's no disputing that. But moving forward, I believe WISSOTA needs to clearly outline in the rule book the procedures for tearing somebody down because it's never been in the history of WISSOTA racing that you can just randomly pick a spot. I'm tearing down the winner. That's
Yeah.
never been a thing until this year. Happened at the Little Dream, happened at the Red Clay Classic. Okay. Now, I looked in the rule book, kind of a vague outline, doesn't really have anything written down. That's kind of the problem, right? There's so many things in the WISSOTA rulebook that's unclear. Why not just have it written out clearly? Here's exactly how it has to go. That way, there's never a dispute on anything. So hopefully, they can clean up that verbiage moving forward. But
Well,
I'll
Well, yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to pretend to know anything about engines. So, but what
right.
concerns me a little bit is the fact that whatever was done, you really can't see it unless you tear the engine completely down. That's a little
Correct.
concerning to me.
Yeah, and that's the case with. I mean, there's a lot of things you really can't see until you got to tear the motor apart to
Well,
actually
and,
see it.
and, and that's what I was getting at. I'm not an engine guy, so maybe there
Right.
are other rules where you have to go to a teardown in order to find
And that
infractions.
and I believe that's making people brave, right? Because they're like, they ain't never gonna catch this. They're never even gonna look at it. Like, why would I even worry about it? They're never gonna pull a valve out of a head. Like, what? They're not gonna see this in a million years. Well, if there was more teardowns, I mean, I'm a firm believer, right? And easy for me to say, I don't have a car anymore, and I don't have to tear my shit apart, right? But you get some of these races that are paying big money fucking tear the motor. They should all be torn apart. Little Dream, it shouldn't even be a question. You win $30,000 in a street stock, right? There shouldn't even have to be a teardown. It should be automatic. You're winning 30 grand. You're leaving here with 30,000. You're also leaving here with your engine in a box. Period. That
And that
shouldn't even be a dispute.
and that's what I wanted to comment on the deal. It's like I have a problem with a driver just picking a position. It's chicken shit. I just I don't necessarily like it. But like you said, Little Dream, you're racing for $30,000. You know ahead of time, hey, winner's getting a full engine teardown. We might, I mean, and it might just be more in the engine. Might be suspension. Might be, hey, you're subjected to a full teardown on this. If you think you're going to go home with that check and take the money of all these hardworking fans up in the stands.
Sheridan, Wyoming, 10,000 to win earlier this year in the Midwest Mod Division, right? Jake Smith, his engine left in a box.
Yeah.
He, I talked to somebody that was out there teching, right? They're like, he didn't even know how to take the engine apart. Like he's like, okay, what do I do next, right? Like, but they're like, if we're gonna pay 10,000 for a show like this, take the engine apart. IMCA Boone Super Nationals. I've never been there, but I've heard the teching after the feature at the Super Nationals is second to none, right? So shouldn't always be put on the driver to be protesting somebody instead of just checking it. And I'm not for on a 300 to win night or 400 to win night, we're going to tear everybody's motors
No,
apart. That can't happen, right? But you
unless it's a
start paying,
protest.
yeah, on the protest. But this big money shows, there needs to be more teching, needs to be more consistent. The problem is if you have one event that does it and nobody else does, all you're going to have is a bunch of drivers going, fuck that place, I ain't going, right? So it's got to be across the board, and that can't really rest on WSOTA. It's not their job to be teching at every racetrack. Every racetrack has to have their own tech officials, and it's a problem. It's a problem, but I think some of the procedures need to change. Number two, Chonga's going to assign a donkey award, Bert.
Oh
Just haven't
Christ!
decided who. Just have not decided who. Okay. So World of Outlaw late models, World of Outlaw late models. They raced at Humboldt, Kansas, and then they raced at Lake 81 Speedway in what is that in Lakeside or Kansas City Lakeside, I think, right? 81 Speedway, anyways, where it was. Night number one, your boy Bobby Pierce got fourth. Night number two, he got 11th. I'm looking at the recap here. I'm like, 11th? He started on the pole? What the fuck? What happened? What did happen, Shanga? Tell us what happened. Who gets the donkey award?
I wasn't necessarily prepared to give a donkey award. I had another one prepared, but um, no. So, well, I'll give you the story. So he sets fast time, breaks the track record, draws the pole for the feature. They call the cars to staging. He's in staging. I don't know exactly all the details. If a crew member thought a tire looked like it was going down, check the air pressure in staging. I don't know if he added air. I wasn't there, needless to say, but whether he did or didn't, I guess is irrelevant. You're not allowed to do any of those things. You're not allowed to check the air. You're not allowed to add air, take out air. None of that once the car's in staging. They did that. They fully know the rules. Now, apparently, like if you go into what the message RTJ sent out today, talking about, I think it's, kind of bullshit because I've done it. All kinds of guys have done this. Why are they going to DQ a guy if he thinks, their tire's going down in staging? They ain't even on the racetrack yet, right? So I guess ultimately, if I was going to give a donkey award, I'm not going to give it to Pierce or his pit crew because if he's got a tire going down, you got to know when you got to change it just so you can get out there and race for points. What are you going to do? Just go out there with the flat? I mean, you're not going to do that. So they're not getting the donkey award, I guess. So inconsistency on the officials' parts, I suppose, would have to be the donkey award if I was going to give one. Right.
I got to be honest, Bert. It's so fun watching Changa give a donkey award because he's afraid to hurt feelings, right? I
Oh,
mean, let's just
I
make
wasn't
Let's,
prepared for that.
you notice he said I can't give it to Pierce or his team. I
you
mean,
can't
that's his
give it to
boy.
Bobby. You can't give
Well,
it
why
to
would you?
Bobby.
They did what they had to do. You ain't gonna go
I
start a race with a flat tire.
1000% the donkey award goes to the World of Outlaws for their bullshit rules, right? First of all, okay, with the 10-minute horn and you got to be the staging. I get the concept behind this, right? But who gives a shit? I mean, if you are out, if they have to wait for you, you're going to the back. That's simple. But if you're in staging in the staging area, as long as you're not delaying the program and holding shit up and they're waiting for you and all that, you should be able to do whatever you want. You should be able to do anything you
Well,
want in staging.
well, with the except depending on how they do their staging, because like at Eldora, I mean, Eldora is not World of Outlaws, but when you go to staging, you have to get your tires checked in turn 4 before you get into staging on pit lane. So if you change a tire on pit lane, you would have to go back through a tire check.
If
Right,
you
right.
change a tire, yes,
Yeah,
that's
This is just an air
specific rules.
pressure, checking the air pressure in a tire.
Correct.
yeah.
Correct. I mean, we've seen people, oh, he was late to staging. He's going to the back,
Nope.
right? Or it's like, get rid of some of these dumb rules. Like World of Outlaws, they have another rule. Oh, he made one extra. I've seen this on numerous times, right? And it's always a local guy that's not used to their rules. Oh, they made an extra lap after time trials, and now they're getting disqualified in time trials because they made an extra lap. I
They may have
get
never
the
done
idea.
it before.
It's like, what are we doing here? This whole, I mean, we're talking about a series, guys, where I can literally run you over and bury you into the fence and get my spot back because they don't make a call but we're going to put you to the back because you did an air pressure adjustment in staging. What are we talking about? How is that a thing? Right? That's what pisses me off with these national series is it's just like I get the concept. Yeah, you don't want to delay the program. You don't want to be waiting for people, but if it didn't delay anything, if you're not waiting for them, who gives a shit? And like RTJ said, we do this all the time. Many people have done this. Why? I think they're just trying to make the points battle
No,
closer
and
going
and
into
I
the
don't
World Finals.
I don't know if the tire was flat and they ended up changing it. I mean, I haven't heard any comments back from the 32 team at all talking about it.
Right.
It's just been kind of mum is the word. But he still he went out on the track, lined up on the pole, and then they must have come over the radio and told him, "Hey, you're going to start 24th." And he just kind of pulled around the track and tagged the rear. He didn't look pissed. He wasn't like revving the engine or peeling out or
Right.
nothing. It was
I don't think
weird.
World of Outlaws has a rule anymore. I don't think they have a rule that you have to run the same tire in the heat as you do in the feature. I don't think
I
that's a
don't
thing,
think
is
so.
it?
No, because
Yeah,
they
I
So
don't
they go
know.
to harder tires for the feature all the time.
yeah.
But
So with that said, okay, I'm just gonna go back to this. I don't care if he changed it as long as there's not a tire rule, okay? Like a specific tire rule. I don't care if he changed all four tires, two shocks, bar angle, J bar, right? Carb
yeah.
adjust. I don't care, right? If you're in staging, who get it's actually it's in it. You're down there. You're hey, last minute adjustment. Let's make a little change, whatever. As long as you're not delaying the program, why do they care? That's it makes no sense, Bert.
Yeah, I've just I mean this is weekly racing versus World of Outlaws, but when I was on MJ's crew, you know, we'd always have a couple crew members stand by the car while the car was in staging, and we always dreaded MJ's finger coming out of the window motioning somebody to come to the window because he wanted to make a change. So, you know, either, you
And
know,
they're done that.
turns in the shocks or whatever springs and add more fuel to the car, and then we're running around like crazy.
Sound familiar, Shanga? Does that sound familiar a little bit,
Changing
right?
shocks, changing springs, changing tires, adding
I
weights.
we used to have a three tire rule, right? You could run a hard boss on the right rear, or they had the medium, and then they had the super boss, right? They had the hard boss, dirt boss, super boss. Is what they had.
Sometimes we did it on purpose.
Well, we did it several times in Proctor. You know, we'd put a hard boss on, you know, and all of a sudden Paul Schultz would be coming over. He'd be looking at the right rear, and Tardy's would be looking at the right rear, and next thing
Jason
you know, they're
Miller.
Jason Miller. Then we'd put that on. We'd roll right down to staging, and all of a sudden they'd be kind of just getting ready to pull on the track, and you'd be looking. It was too late for them to do anything. Bam, we change the right rear tire, put the dirt boss on, and go out there for the feature. You know, so that was kind of it was an advantage. It was a game. It kind of made it fun. It was, you know, and their stupid rules here. I mean, you're gonna run anybody over you want. That's fine. You get your spot back. Nothing to see here. But oh, God forbid you make a change in staging. So, can we all agree the Donkey Award goes to World of Outlaws here? Is that fair?
Fair enough.
All right. We'll jump on to the next thing here. No, what do you got? What'd you say?
I didn't say. I said fair enough.
Fair enough. All right. Number 3, the 24 hours of La Ogilvy. Um, yeah, not 24 hours of Le Mans, not 24 hours of Daytona, the 24 hours of Ogilvy at the Fall Classic. 9 hours to run B mains and features. What are we doing? 9 hours. They started at 5, Bert. It was just after 2 they got done.
That was
What are
just
we,
B mains and features.
well, they had a couple USRA late model heats. We'll throw them
Two
in there.
USRA late model heats.
Yeah, got to be fair. They had a couple heat races in there. 9 hours, Bert. 9 hours. I had people blown, and this is, I don't even, I mean, there's a lot of things. There's a lot of things to unpack here, right? It's a 2-day show, ton of cars,
Right.
300,
That was
300
the
some cars.
short version.
Yeah. But the fact of the matter is, they really didn't do much to the track between night 1 and night 2. It was freaking dry starting on night 2, starting at 5 o'clock. So you didn't do much to the track. That many cars, you're going to be constantly watering in between races and just dicking around. People, I talked to several people. They texted me and they're like, "I'm going home and watching the features. I'm not fucking staying for this. This is ridiculous, right? I'll watch the feature on replay. I'm not going to be here till 2 o'clock in the morning." It's just too much. 9 classes of cars, guys. That's a puka thing. We understand.
Well,
I mean,
and
go ahead.
somewhere along the line, these tracks got the idea, and maybe I mean we've talked about Backgate, maybe that's why, but for year-end specials, they need to have 7, 8, 9 classes when during the season, their weekly show is only 4 or 5 classes. Why are we adding all these extra classes for a year just because other tracks aren't racing and you're going to get the cars? But I mean, Lexi Raceway had a special this past weekend too. It was just a 1 day, but they had a whole bunch of cars. I think they started racing at 4, and I heard that they were running the consies at 10:30, so they hadn't even got to the features yet at 10:30 at night. And I love racing, but I tend to stay away from attending year-end specials just because they're way too long. I mean, the attend and I'm a diehard. You're never, if a casual fan goes to a year-end special expecting, okay, I'm going to see, 3, maybe a 4-hour show, and they're there till midnight.
They won't come back,
Right,
right?
right.
Ogilvy was closer to 10 if you count hot laps.
Well, and here let's talk about this, right? Ogilvy, they put it. There's every track has some good racing and bad racing, okay? But I'd say on average, Ogilvy, as a just Ogilvy Raceway themselves, their own show, they typically have more good racing than bad. Is that fair? I mean, they have some. I've seen some bangers over there. The track's not always freaking garbage like it was for this. It is unfair. There's no way that you're gonna, with 300 plus cars starting at 5 o'clock, 9 hours of racing, 9 classes of cars. I don't care who you are. The track ain't gonna typically be good. It's gonna go away at some point. I mean, that's asking too much. So that right there makes this is an FYE deal, right? Chris decides he wants to have all these classes. Could be back 8, who knows, whatever. But this is a bad reflection on Ogilvy because a lot of people look at the track and they're like, the racing was awful on Saturday, bone dry. You couldn't pat. No, I mean, it was just not racy, latched up in the late models. Well, that's too many cars, too many classes. And Bert, you're spot on, right? I personally, and everybody's got their own opinion, but my personal opinion is I want to go to the end of the year invitationals for the post race vibe, right? I love the 2 day shows, the 3 day shows at the end of the year. If they get done at a reasonable time, it was almost like being at the USA Nationals, Chongo, where races get done. We're down by the bonfire, bullshitting with people for a couple hours after the races, having a good time. Everybody's so exhausted and wore out at 2 o'clock in the morning that people are like, we ain't gonna hang out and go down in the pits and visit with the driver. That just doesn't happen, right? So I believe that having too many classes and these 9 hour marathon programs, it kills the postseason vibe, and it's just bad for racing in general. That's got to come to an end, Changa.
Another thing is a long, boring, hey, look, every racetrack on a given night is going to have some good races, some bad races,
Yep.
but a long, boring, slow 10-hour freaking program, you're never going to bring in new fans. If a fan goes there, a casual person goes there, they ain't going to want to go back. And guess what? They ain't going to buy it on streaming. They probably ain't going to be in your back door either. I mean, 4 classes should be the max. 5 if you don't got huge car counts, sure, I mean, but oh my God, it's just, I love racing. I'm standing there leaning at the counter in my kitchen, prying my eyes open at 1 in the morning, and I said, fuck, there's still 4 features to go. Fuck this, I'm going to bed. I mean, this is awful. I mean, Shane Sabraski starts second row in the supers. I don't need to watch that one. And then, we've got some grassroots races, and I got to get up at 8 o'clock in the morning to watch the Vikes. Yeah, no, I'm just not doing this. Not doing this.
To me, it was like a freaking car accident. You're driving on the road. There's an accident on the other side of the road, right? And it has nothing to do with you. Just keep driving. Don't even look. Just keep driving. But I'm like, I can't help myself. I got to see what's going to happen, right? So I got it on stream. I'm up till after 2 in the morning. I'm like, I got to see this. I know I shouldn't. I know I should just wait till the next day and just like literally watch it the next day and fast forward through the yellows, but nope, I couldn't help myself. So
Yeah.
yeah, so I mean
I mean,
that shit's got to come to an
they
end.
probably should have farmed before the last feature for like an hour.
All right. They farmed multiple times throughout the night, which, yeah, it is what it is. But, just a quick recap, late models redemption, right, for Josh Zimpel.
Yeah.
Remember, he led the WISSOTA 100 and stepped on his wiener there, and he did not do that here. Now, he did give the lead away. He did give it away, right? Joel Bennett came from deep. We're going to talk a little bit more about that and just that'll be the next topic, right? But Joel Bennett came from deep, took the lead away in lap traffic. He got the lead back, ended up getting spun out, goes on to win the feature. So heck of a run. Congratulations to him. Cole Schill, who won the sights, followed that up in the postseason with a second place finish at an invitational. So good to see him run good, and Shane Sabraski rounded out the podium. In the modifieds, right now the best in the business in WISSOTA modified racing when that track is slippery, and I don't think there's a close second. Jody Belfi was just precision. Every Changa, you saw there was a ripple getting into 3. I think Landon Atkinson hit it like 40 straight laps. I'm not sure. I think he hit it every single time, right? Jody Belfi hit it exactly 0 times. Like he was able to rotate past that, and his car just looked smooth. Blake Adams was ripping the lip. I mean, he wanted it. Bert, he jumped out to the early lead, and if that top stays there, if that's a 25 lap feature, he wins. Top went away. He faded at the end. He got, I believe, third in that one. Atkinson second, but the later that race went and the drier it got, Belfi just got better and better and better. So congratulations to him on winning that one. Super stocks, interesting thing here. So Sabraski wins. We talked about that. Dylan Nelson second, Timmy Johnson third. So Dave Moss, though, I thought this was kind of cool. So Dave Moss started on the pole. Did you see that? He was lined up inside pole. They had a deal. If you started in the first 8 spots, if you opted to start last and won the feature, they give you another 5,000 on top of your winnings, right? Well, he's not racing for points, so he's like, oh, whatever, I got nothing to lose. Hey, tip of the cap to Dave Voss for taking that challenge. It didn't work out for him. I don't think he even got up into the top 10. I think he got maybe 11th, 12th at the end of that deal. I think right around there. But he tried it. He didn't have nothing to lose. He's like, oh, who gives a shit? I mean, yeah, you want to win the feature, but let's try to do something here, make it exciting. The fans eat that stuff up. I remember Shane Sabraski pulled that off a few years back in a super, but um, thank you, Dave Moss, for at least trying to make that happen and put a show on for the crowd. Changa?
Well, I was gonna say when Shane did it, didn't he ask for 5 more laps?
He did. He
Yep,
did. And
yep.
they had plenty of laps. I think it
He
was
didn't end up
30.
needing them either, but
Right. Yeah, he did
you know,
not
and
need
here's
him.
the thing: they didn't make. I think, and I'm correct me if I'm wrong here, but wasn't it like at that time just the pole sitter or the front row could make that choice? Because maybe Dave, if he would have been able to make that when we're lined up on the decision, when we're lined up on the track and he's seen the track, maybe changes his mind too. You
Yeah,
know.
yeah, for sure. And I think Shane actually started second row when they did that. I think it was more of a Shane was so dominant
Mm,
that it's like let's
okay.
try to do something here. And he'd already won the points. In the Midwest mods, the story going into that one, Joey Jensen starting up in the front couple rows there. If he wins the feature, he keeps his title hopes really strong alive, because if he wins a feature, he's in striking distance to win a race this coming weekend to overcome Tyler Vernon. And for the third straight time racing against him, Blake Adams made him pay. Blake Adams dominated in the Midwest mod. Joey was there,
Mm-hmm.
but he just
A little bit tight, wouldn't quite rotate
yeah,
well
he
enough.
couldn't rotate in 3 and 4. He kept trying to bottom in 1 and 2, and every time he'd go to the bottom, he'd lose like 3 car lengths coming off of 2. And he's probably looked back at that video, shaking his head, going, "Man, I probably could have did better there." But Tyler Vernon's got to be a big Blake Adams fan right now for
Oh, for
sure,
sure.
because I mean, them
I
couple,
feel
a pair of wins at Granite at the Piston Cup, and then winning here and keeping Joey Jensen out of victory lane. That essentially puts Tyler Vernon in the driver's seat to win his first ever national title. So, street stocks. another kid that didn't really race much last year, came out late this year, Parker Anderson from 10th to get it done. Street stocks were a banger. I was really happy. I was so happy to see they ran the pure stocks and then the street stocks, because the street stocks got a really bad rap on night number 1. It was straight slime in the heat races. They had a really good track for the feature, though, because Parker Anderson won from 10th, Van Gilder second, Keith Tourville from 15th to 3rd, Eric Riley from 17th to 4th. There's some good racing in that street stock. That street stock was a banger. So congrats to Parker Anderson, who also won the John Seitz Memorial. Mod 4s, you see Dustin Holquist starting up front. He's been strong, kind of making his claim at a national title. Well, he's locked it up. It's over now. But that stretch run that he had here in September was dominant, right? And I'm thinking, well, he's just going to win. No sense watching this. He's going to win this one. Not so much, Bert. Tyler Larson, he got her done here. Congrats, Tyler Larson, shutting down the national championship to keep him out of victory lane. Hornets and Pure Stocks, the two best races of the night. In the Hornets, Randy Jacob, I think it's Jacoboski, I think is how you say it. Him and Brady Faso ran side by side. It had to have been for 10, 12 laps there. And eventually at the end, Randy was just a little too strong for him and pulled away to take the win at the end. But that was a hell of a good race. And in the pure stocks, last lap pass for the win. Austin Carlson slipping by Jake Smith. Jake's probably looked back at that one. He was on the bottom and looked like he had it won. And for whatever reason, he moved up a lane on the last lap. Did you see that? I don't know what he was doing. He moved up one lane. Austin Carlson slides inside of him, takes a win. Both of those two have had a really, really good season. And then surprise, surprise, in the USRA late models, I bet you can't win. Guess who won that one, Bert?
Would it last name be Nelson?
Little Hammer, Cade Nelson. Yeah, he's been dominant. Lucas Peterson has had a really good year as well. I think he's going to end up getting second in the USRA National Championship battle, but it looks to be it's going to be Cade Nelson's third straight USRA Late Model National Championship. Hell of a job to him. All right, so let's jump into number 4. We'll stay on Ogilvy here.
Well, yeah, I had a whole bunch of thoughts on Ogilvy, so
yeah, let's talk about. We'll jump to number 4. Then I'll let you give your thoughts. Unless you want to give your thoughts first. You want to do that?
yeah, I just wanted to give some thoughts and
go ahead.
shout-outs, right? Late model race. You want me to leave the hot topic for the late model race?
Yeah. I mean, you want it? Yeah, we can do whichever way you want.
I'll give a couple of shout-outs there.
Okay.
Obviously, Cole Schill, another strong invite run. Jeff Provenzino, my goodness. I mean, this guy's been in the top 5 a ton in invite season. So a shout-out to him.
All year.
He's just had a strong, just been up front a lot lately. We touched on Blake leading a good majority of that mod race. Dexton, another top 4. Your boy, the Tarantula, with a top 5, right? So he's actually run pretty decent at invite time as well.
He has.
I was gonna give Riley some props coming from the B in the street stocks.
Dylan Kromschroeder with another top 5
yes,
too.
there's another guy really that's been strong at the end. Yep. Hornets, your national point leader, finishing a ho-hum 7th place.
Conspiracy theory there, right?
I'm wondering if he backed it out of the top.
I'll have to ask him. I mean, he watches the show. He can let me know. But I mean, so Bert, thinking about this logically, they have a car claim in the Hornet division. So if you finish in the top 5, I believe 6 to 12, if they're on the same lap as the 5th place car, for $2,500, they can buy your car. Now you keep your seat and seat belts that I think fuel cell, but they can claim your car. I think he has his car sold, right? And I think it's probably double of what you can get claimed for. So if you're not going to win, there's no reason to finish 4th or 3rd, right? Just back that deal right up out of the top 5, get yourself a 7th place finish, and be like, all right. I mean, if he was going to get tore down, you still get tore down. No matter, you don't have to finish to get tore down. But he was not eligible to have his car claimed, being that he didn't finish in the top 5. Maybe saved himself a couple $1,000.
Last week we talked about the driver who clinched the national points.
That was him.
Oh, that was him. Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So he did race though.
Yep.
He did. He did. I think he won the heat, and then he started right up front
Started
in the
up front.
feature. Yeah, he started right up front in the feature, and once he realized he wasn't going to be battling for a win, he
Okay.
just kind of faded back out of the top 5 to 7th. I'm just going to go ahead and say it. I don't think he was that slow where he got 7th. I think he made a business decision.
I
In
sure
fact,
hope so.
yeah, I think he did. And if he did, that's a
That's the
veteran
story
move.
I want to tell, anyways.
Yeah, that'd be a smart move. That'd be a smart move if that's what he did. I don't know if he's
Yeah.
gonna get claimed or not, but you're for sure not getting claimed if you get 7th. So
Yeah. And
probably
then
a smart move.
just the pure stock race, right? Some of the northern guys, Austin Carlson, and that Cade Leaper, he run good, and he stole some wins from Puffy up in Bemidji, but a podium finish for him there. Just wanted to give him a little shout out. And then Josh Lauk's got a 6th place finish. It's been a long time since we've seen Josh in a car. He's one of our locals up in my neck of the woods, so I just wanted to give him a shout out on a good run.
Absolutely, yeah. Good to see Josh back, one of the old Country Kitchen gang. Bert, you heard
Mm-hmm.
stories about the Country Kitchen. He was one of the gang that joined us up there. So let's before we jump into number 4, let's give a shout out Brad Parson Soil and Egg Solutions. So if you live up in, you know, western Minnesota, northwestern Minnesota, North Dakota, South Dakota, if you're in farming, harvest season is here. What do you want to do? You want to make more money, right? Well, one of the ways to make more money is to have higher yields. Well, how do you have higher yields? Get the right stuff in those spray packages. Got to have some luck, right? Got to have the right rain. Everything's got to work all perfect. But things you can control is what you put into those spray packages. Why not give Brad a call and learn about all the great products they have? He's part of the racing community. Why not support somebody within, especially somebody that can give you proven data to where people have had big success with the products he has to offer? That's Brad Parsons Soil and Egg Solutions, and you can reach him at 320-219-3542. Again, Brad Parsons Soil and Egg Solutions. So number 4 here, guys. I had somebody text me this one. I'm like, oh, that's kind of good. The No Call Nationals. Instead of the instead of the Fall Classic, let's just call it the No Call Nationals, right? Or the No Call Classic, or whatever you want to call. Twice, Bert. Twice. If Tom Nesbitt was watching the Fall Classic, somebody had to get him blood pressure medicine, and they're dang lucky that he didn't chase him down because there might have been a fight. I don't care. He's in his 80s, doesn't move quite as well. Tom Nesbitt's still gonna whoop your ass. Okay, Tom Nesbitt's still gonna whoop your ass. And I guarantee there was 2 times where Tom Nesbitt's like looking around, going, "Where's that little fucker up in the grandstands? I'm gonna find him right now. Like I'm gonna choke this little." I could just hear him. I wish I was standing by Tom Nesbitt when both of these things happened. Street stock feature. Okay, I believe right around lap number 10. 3rd and 4th place drivers. So Hunter Van Gilder, Jimmy Gullickson, they're battling 3rd and 4th, right? And I don't know if there was contact made. It was close. It was hard to make the call. I watched it 10 times myself. I'm not 100% sure how I would have called that. Long story short, contacts made. They got together. Car goes around. I think it was Van Gilder that went around, collected somebody else. Yellow comes out, right? They're doing parade laps. They both get their spot back. Nobody went to the back. It's like, are you shitting me? I mean, we've said this 1,000 times. Somebody has to go to the back. They have to. I remember Tom Nesbitt at Cass, and I've told the story 100 times, right? Well, ultimately it was him, but he was pissed, right? So somebody's got to go make a call, right? And if you can't make a call and you're like, I don't know, it's got to be one of them, then either A, you call it on the car that stopped, or you just call it on both of them. But you can't penalize the whole entire rest of the field, right? So tough break there. They just no call on that one. Late model feature, 7 to go. Joel Bennett from 12th to the lead, Bert. He was unbelievably fast. He found the rubber essentially before everybody else did and drove a super smart race. That's what he did. Okay. But he gets up to the lead and then he steps all over his wiener, not once,
Yep.
but twice, because Bert, you've watched enough races. Bam, he gets the lead. It is latched on the bottom, right? Latched. 3 and 4, maybe you could have made a Hail Mary once or twice on the top. 1 and 2, you were not leaving the tires. It's just not happening, right? You get up the lap traffic, and it's like it's like the train that goes around the train tracks. You've seen it a million times, right? He gets up to the lappers. Bert, you're leading, rubber on the bottom, lappers ahead of you. What do you not do?
Try to pass the lappers on the outside.
What did he do?
Try to pass the lappers on the outside.
Certainly
Yeah,
did.
and then Zimpel's like, "Oh, thank you, sir," and he went right on by him on the bottom, and he realized his mistake, and he slammed back down to the bottom, and he gets right into the back of Zimpel, getting into 3, and spins him around in a circle. Right? Nobody to the back. I mean, this one wasn't even. It wasn't even questionable, right? I watched it and I went back. I watched it again today. I'm like, maybe I mean, it was late. Maybe I missed something, right? Nope, he just flat out drove right over him. And I think he just got in hot. And I mean, I don't think he tried to spin him, but I mean, Stevie Wonder could have made that call. He just flat out drove into him, spun him around in a circle, nobody to the back. I'm not going to say names. I'm just going to say I had people texting me that never in a million years they don't want no they're people that you're like, they're not drama people, right? And they're like, what are they doing? How do you not? I mean, the street stock one, that one was a tough call because it's hard to tell what happened. This one here was not. Your guys' thoughts on this whole not making a call nonsense? Not once, but twice.
Well, I think there's like 2 donkey awards to be given out there. Number one, you give one to Joel Bennett. Why the hell are you leaving the tires? You got the race won. This is gonna be the easiest race you ever won. All you got to do is park it on the bottom for a few more laps and it's over, right? So that should be a donkey award. And then obviously after he decides not to park it on the bottom and he wants to, doesn't want to win anymore, falls back to second. Then he changes his mind back to I want to win now, and overdrives the car, spins the guy out, and so donkey award goes to whoever's responsible for making a call on this. And I don't care who it is. Like you said, Stevie Wonder could have seen it from freaking Mississippi. I mean, it was a blatant, plain. I mean, easy call to make. I just don't get it.
It's unfortunate. I get it. Shit happens, but it's like you got to make a call. I mean, and here's the sad thing, guys. I know for a fact that they use video, right? I know for a fact that they look at the video and they're like, "Oh, what happened here?" I know that whoever I know for sure that happens at these races, okay? Literally everybody watching knew exactly what happened, but the one person, right, that is like watching and go, no, nothing to see here.
Right.
What? Is it because he's one of the 6 cars that follows the Challenge Series? I'm just saying. Kind of,
Conspiracy.
right? I mean, I'm just going to go ahead and point it out, right? The same guy that makes the call, that's the race director that runs that show, is also the Challenge Series director, right? Right? If it,
Wow.
yeah,
Well, not,
it looks like chicken, smells like chicken, it tastes like chicken, pretty good odds.
you're
Pretty good
talking about
odds.
you're talking about Bennett following, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I mean, it's not just Joel; it's the Franks too, because Todd Frank and Joel Bennett are really tight, and they follow the Challenge Series together. So it's not just that one car, and you don't want to make Todd Frank mad. I mean, he's mad at Shano, and
I think he's mad at Zabraski's pit guy too. No, I'm just kidding. Come on, that's a low blow. Come on now. I don't think Joel Bennett would have been mad. I really don't. If it's a questionable deal, maybe, but it wasn't. I mean, it was literally like,
Been around long enough. He already knew before he spun him out that he messed up, and
yeah,
he was probably, that's probably what happened. He probably punched himself in the nuts for making that mistake and just forgot to hit the
it
brake.
it. I mean, and it really, honestly, it really sucks for him. I mean, he still ended up having a decent run. I don't remember exactly where he finished. I guess I do remember where he finished.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth place.
Yeah, yeah. So he still ended up having a solid run, but 12th to the lead
Oh,
at that race. That's got to be the best run that he's had in a late model, right? I mean, that was impressive, and then to kind of
yeah.
let it slip away, that was tough. So yeah, that was a bummer. A couple donkey awards. Thanks, Changa, for handing those out. Let's jump into number 5, right?
so Changa's handed out 3 donkey awards tonight.
Yeah, and one
Yeah,
last week. I'm on a roll.
he's a troublemaker, that guy. He's a troublemaker. So number 5, Bert, you watched Lucas Oil Dirt Late Model Series this weekend. We're in the chase for the
Yes.
championship, and pretty good points battle coming in, right? RTJ had a slim lead, right, coming in, or
80,
was it?
He had
He
an
had
80
8.
point lead.
80 coming into the weekend.
Oh Jesus, yeah, it was a slim. Yeah,
But
he
80's
had it.
not that big in
It's
Lucas.
not, but it's
Lucas, you
still
get lots of
fairly
points.
big. So what happened? What happened to his point lead there, Bert? Fill us in. What happened to his point lead?
Well, it evaporated the first night. He was actually having a good run. He was leading the feature, but then he got a flat tire, so he had to pit. It was fairly early in the race, so he was able to rebound. I think he got 10th or so, ninth,
Ninth, yeah,
and
ninth.
so he was able to rebound and get back up to ninth. But I believe Moran won that race. So
Yep,
Moran uh, basically caught. I think he was 10
5
points.
points, 5 behind after that night.
Okay, and then Moran had fast time in his group the next night, so he got points for that. And Moran was up by 5 entering the
yep,
feature, I believe.
yep, yep.
And well, then it was funny in the start of the second feature. Davenport really forced it in there on Moran. I don't think Davenport was going to let Moran get, or wasn't going to be easy on Moran after what happened last week when the two made contact. But Davenport took the lead and went on to win. Uh, Moran was lucky that there were cautions that came out late in that race because he was mired in 6th place I mean, he ran second for a good majority of that second race, but then he fell back to 6th. But then some cautions um, allowed him to get back to bunch up the field, and he wound up finishing, what was it, third?
Third,
Third,
third.
third.
Yeah, and Thornton was right behind him, but Moran's up by 15, I believe.
Yeah, he's up by 15, 115 on JD. Moran, yeah, one night, 2 JD, or Moran one night, 1 JD night, 2. Changa, any other takeaways from the Pittsburgher 100?
Yeah, so night 1, Max Blair with a solid 3rd place finish, right? RTJ got his 9th, Huddy got 8th. Second night, Max Blair again, 13th to
Right.
2nd, right? And then Josh Richards, 9th place, night 2. He had a 17th night 1, a 9th place night 2. So kind of neat seeing him actually kind of in the mix a little bit there. And Max Blair, wow, heck of a weekend with a 2nd and a 3rd.
Yeah, I mean, right now Devin Moran's in the driver's seat. I mean, he's been so good during the chase. It's only 15 points. That's essentially qualifying is 10 points, fast time in qualifying,
Right.
and I believe it's 10 points per spot, is what it is. So it's a tight battle right now with one race to go, a couple weeks out from the Dirt Track World Championship. I think those two got to be in the driver's seat. It's going to take a minor miracle,
Can you
right,
remind
for
me how far back JD is?
115 out of first.
115 out of 1st.
115, yeah. So that's a bunch.
But I mean, one thing that adds extra intrigue is you'll have the World of Outlaw guys there too. So there'll be more cars
Everybody
there
else.
that they'll have to compete against.
Right. And speaking of the World of Outlaws, we talked about Pierce, but
Well,
night
sir,
1.
I
Go
got
ahead.
one other comment regarding
Sure.
Lucas. Brandon Overton had a really good run in
Right.
that second race. He was up to 3rd, I believe, and then he got a flat tire. But
Purple and yellow is fast, Bert.
I was just gonna say he changed his colors to purple and yellow, and I'm sure you guys are aware of this. Just comes up, just teases you guys a little bit, and
Fair,
then
fair.
gets the flat tire and just breaks your heart.
Fair enough.
That's not false. That's not false. Yeah. So going back to the World of Outlaws, Dennis Erb Jr. won over at Humboldt, but
That's a good
Dustin
race.
Sorensen was impressive. He gave him everything he could handle. Looked like he was gonna maybe get by him for the win on the bottom. Threw the haymaker. He gave it the college try on the high side and came up one spot short. But Brian, and then night number 2, T-Mac gets it done. That's the night, of course, that Pierce had the issue, he got put to the back and latched up, rubbered up in about 10 laps. But Brian Shirley with a third and a second, I'd say he had the best weekend. The B1 Bomber was running in the top 5 there until about a handful of laps to go in night number 1 and fell back to 11th. But Jake Tim, Brent Larson, 10th and 11th. They kind of right around that 10th, 11th, 12th spot both nights. So, based on how their season's going, pretty solid for them to actually. And then Sorensen got a second and an eighth. Really nice weekend for Dustin Sorensen out there. So let's jump into number 6. I guess our final one of the group here as far as top storylines, but it's the final WISSOTA points weekend of the year. Okay, so just a quick little synopsis. Late models, it's wrapped. Tyler Peterson is going to be your national champion. Modifieds is not. That is too close to call. Right now, Blake Adams 6 points ahead of Shane Sabraski. Now, there's 2 options this weekend. You got Heats Friday, Features Saturday at Fergus Falls, okay? You also have a full show at Hibbing on Saturday, but Hibbing starts at 2 o'clock. 4-hour drive. Bert, hold that thought, right? You picking up on and putting down? 4-hour drive. It's an FYE show in Fergus Falls. Features probably won't start till midnight. Okay, so they probably can make
They have
it.
makeup
Okay,
features too.
they're running the makeup features for late models and supers on Friday.
Oh, they are. Okay.
Those are Friday. Yep. Super stocks. Shane Sabraski pretty much has that locked. I think there is a world where if Kurt Meyer showed up, but I think that's locked. He does have the makeup feature. Sabraski's going to start front row. It looks like the Iron Man's going to get another natty there. Midwest Mods. Tyler Vernon. Okay, so Tyler Vernon has a 4-point lead right now ahead of Joey Jensen. Joey Jensen and Tyler Vernon both chucking 55s. One show will not do it. Okay, Tyler Vernon went west last week. He went out to Billings. He went out there natty hunting. He's like, I'm going out there for 2 complete shows. Maybe there's a world where Saturday the weather holds off and they get it in. It did not. Bert, those Western boys from out in Montana and Wyoming sent him home with his tail between his legs. I'm not going to lie. There's some freaking good race car drivers out there. Jeremy Meerhofer getting it done. Troy Liker up there. He got second. Tony Liker was in the mix. Mario Berger was in the mix. Tyler Vernon got 7th. He drove all the way out there, got 7th. I think he got 7th, didn't he?
I've got Meerhofer, Troy Liker, Mario Berger, Tony Liker, Nathan Keniston, and then Vernon.
Okay, so 6th or 7th. I'll say I'll trust you. He got 6th outside the top 5. Did not get a keeper. So he's there. They rushed back on Saturday. They're like, we're gonna watch the features. They were like, I think they were swinging pom poms and all that, cheering for Blake Adams up there. They were super pumped and kind of figured like, we locked this baby up. She's done. She's done. Can't be 2 places at once, right? Or can you? Or can you?
Well,
because there's a rumor going around right now that Joey Jensen might be trying the daily double. So word on the street is Joey Jensen might be going, and this is something that Blake and Shane could do if they wanted to as well, right? They could do this too. But it sounds like there's a world in which they go to Fergus on Friday, race the heat. If Joey gets a first or second in the heat race, there's a mathematical shot he can win this deal, right? So the word is that he might go to Fergus Friday, load up, head to Hibbing Saturday. They race at 2. I think it's 2 or 3. I think it's 2 o'clock. So it's an early day race in Hibbing on Saturday. You get a full show in Hibbing. You get done with Hibbing, it's a 4-hour drive back to Fergus Falls. You could possibly get 2 shows in this week, and that could be interesting. So Blake Adams could do that. Blake Adams, Shane Sabraski could do that in the mods. I don't think Shane will. I don't think he's going to do that because he's running 3 cars at Fergus. I don't see him doing that. Blake, on the other hand, 1000% could, and they would absolutely do that. But I'm telling you right now that the word on the street that is what Joey Jensen might be doing. So that right there, he gets 2 58-point shows. That gives him a natty. He doesn't even need that. So what do you think there, Changa?
Well, so here's my thoughts, right? So he should bring his car to Fergus, go win the heat race, right? Just leave the car there. have his brother bring his car to Hibbing so he can race his brother's car in Hibbing, and then they need to find someone with a helicopter to bring him back to Fergus so you can just shave a little time off, right?
You probably could. That's a possibility, right? He's got a couple car owners. It could happen. Uh, Small airplane, right? Get a hold of,
Mhm.
Pat Capella's got an airplane up there in Hibbing. He could fly him right back to Fergus.
I
So
guess I had one more question too.
it could be kind of a fun. That could be a fun deal to kind of follow. We'll see what happens Friday. It could be all done Friday. Joey could go out Friday, get fourth in the heat, and it's over
Right.
anyway.
So now, do you think, you going back, you said Tyler Vernon made it back to Ogilvy to watch the features, and I'm sure he's the biggest Blake Adams fan on the planet, but even bigger than us probably right about now. But do you suppose you see some Vernon stickers on that car of Blake's next year for all the help he's gotten from him?
probably should,
I
right?
mean,
It
I
probably
think
should.
Blake's
Yeah.
earned it, don't you?
I think so, 1000%. Yeah, no question about it. Um, so that's gonna be fun to follow. I guess we'll have to wait. Friday's a telltale sign. See what them guys are gonna do, right? Because there's a world that Blake Adams goes to Fergus as well, and if Shane has to get a 58-point show in the modified,
Right, that's
and
interesting too.
Blake not do anything. Blake's got to not get. I think he's chucking a 53. So if Blake has a bad heat or whatever, Shane has to have a 58. So if Shane gets second in the heat or worse, or if there's not 26 cars there, then it's over. But if Shane wins his heat, right, on Friday in the mods, and Blake gets like third or fourth and he's gonna be buried, they're gonna leave, go to Hibbing
Oh,
for
for sure.
sure. For sure. So couple interesting storylines. We'll kind of follow them as the weekend goes.
Say what tell the other interesting storyline we talked about yesterday too, right? You need 26 cars, right, to get a 58-point show. If you're
Yeah,
Blake
100.
Adams,
Yeah,
if you're Blake Adams, you're not drawing right away. You want to see how many cars show up because if there's 25 guys and you're the 26th, you just don't sign in and you go sit in the stands because if he sweeps, he's going to come up a point short.
or just race the B mod, right?
Right,
Yeah,
right,
yeah,
right.
yeah, 100%. Because Bert, how it works is if there's 26 or more cars, you get an extra bonus point. And Shane needs that extra bonus point, needs a 58-point show, right? A 57-point sweep, that won't do it. Has to have 26 or more. Last year, I think they had 31 modifieds, I believe. So it's hard to say, right? It's late in the season. It's hard to say. But you're right. If they have
Hitting might take
25,
2 cars.
yeah, if they have 25 cars and you're sitting there and it's like 2 seconds till draw cutoff, you're like, nah, I'm good. No, we're gonna sit this one out. We'll race the B mod tonight.
Nope.
Because then it's over. You don't even need to race at that point. By default, it's done. So that's some interesting storylines still to be had in the open wheels. Street stocks, of course, Colton Brower, hell of a season. He's got that locked up. Dustin Holtquist in the mod fours, Dustin Puffy in the Piers, and then Tony Jensen getting it done in the Hornets. So we'll jump on to the next topic here. Before we do, though, shout out to our friends up in Ashland, Wisconsin. Fast Lane Motorsports and Powder Coating, home of the Galloper chassis. They are the #1 sponsor of the best series in Wissota racing, the Northland Superstock Series. They do custom sandblasting, fabricating, powder coating. They do a lot of stuff. They're trackside vendors at a number of tracks up in the Northland. They get anything racing related you need or anything fabricating related you need. If you need anything powder coating, they can do it. Get a hold of Chris and the gang, Fastlane Motorsports and Powder Coating, Ashland, Wisconsin. So I had a couple fan questions come through, guys, and I just want your thoughts. So did either of you get a chance to watch hashtag Falls Frenzy this weekend? Mars,
Yeah.
late models and modifieds at Fairbury, doubleheader Friday, Saturday. Recap there. Late models, Unziker one night one. Ashton Winger with a hell of a race night two to get by Jason Fager to win that one. Modifieds, Michael Long night #1, Michael Ledford night #2. But the question I have is this. So this one came from Ben. Ben said, everybody raves Fairbury. It's America's dirt track. It's the best track. I'll be honest, the racing was good. I thought the racing was pretty good. I watched all the features. Bert, there was nobody in the grandstands. It was empty.
Yeah, I did watch Friday night's features in both divisions. Yeah, you're right. There was nobody there.
Should the racing world be worried when America's dirt track, right? Fairbury, or one of, a couple of the best tracks up in our area, right? You have um Mississippi Thunder struggling to get fans on a weekly basis. You look at Cedar Lake, their fan count on a regular basis. You go down to the USRA Nationals down in Wheatland, empty grandstands. Should people be worried that some of these premier end of the season events you can't even get fans at some of these races?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think part of the problem is um the racing world industry, dirt track is moving more towards specials, and the specials are getting the attendance. And with the cost of everything, fans can't afford to go to all these different races, so they kind of pick and choose which they go to. I think that's part of the issue.
But this is a special, right? Falls Frenzy, Mars Late
Wow.
Models, Mars Modifieds, 2-day show at the end of the year. USRA
Yeah.
Nationals is a special, right? That's a 4-day deal down in Wheatland. That's a special. I mean, I looked at the grandstands at Lucas Oil Speedway in Wheatland for the USRA Nationals, Bert. I'm telling you right now, on Wednesday and Thursday, there couldn't have been 300. There's no way there was 250 people in the grandstands.
Oh
No way.
crap! I lost you
Not
guys.
possible. We got you. We still got you, Changa.
You're on.
I, I don't know what Changa's doing. He's
Yeah, you
technologically
guys were. I
challenged.
lost. I could see your faces moving, but I couldn't hear any volume there.
Yeah, that's on your end because you have cut out a couple times, so
Well,
that's
and it was
definitely your end.
crazy because earlier you were moving around and Bert wasn't, and me and you were having a conversation and he was paused. But one time I had you both paused, but I could hear you both. So
So yeah, good racing to be had. But I was talking back and forth on a group chat and with a couple buddies, and they're like, racing in front of an empty grandstand sucks.
mhm.
It's just boring, right? You get done racing and you're excited. Even if you win, you get out and you're like, there's nobody here. We talked about this last week. It's like, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't know what the answer is, but I can tell you right now, one thing I do know for sure, even though the crowd was fantastic at Ogilvy, fucking place was packed. A ton of people in the grandstands. But you keep doing a 9-hour show like that, that's gonna go away. I can tell you that. People are gonna get sick of that. The
That's for 30 and under.
Yeah. Well, and the different yeah, but even then it's not, because I mean you're not able to be out at the bonfires and doing things. But yeah, so they had an awesome crowd. Fairbury did not. I am
Let me ask you
concerned.
this.
I
I
am.
mean, you've been to Fairbury a handful of times, right? Does Fairbury ever have a crowd other than the PDC?
Yeah, well they do for the PDC and then the Illinois Speed Weeks that
Okay.
week.
Yeah, I mean,
Um
they're in a pretty desolate area, are they not?
yeah, well they're not that far from Bloomington. I mean, I
No.
guess it is a little bit of a drive. It's probably 45 minutes from Bloomington, but um yeah, I mean it's not like it's in a big
I
town
mean,
for sure.
location is a big thing in a lot of the cases, I suppose.
Right. Right. And that's the same thing with Wheatland, right? I mean, you look at Lucas Oil Speedway, it's literally in the middle of nowhere, right? I mean, it's yeah.
Premier
So yeah,
facility, but in the middle of nowhere. You know.
unbelievable facility for sure. So the next thing I have here is, I don't know if you guys saw, but the 1990 Knoxville Nationals winner, 1998 inductee to the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame, 81-year-old scruff Bobby Allen passed away here. Was it yesterday, a couple days ago? So, of course, Grandpa, I
Hard
believe,
place.
I believe Grandpa to yeah, Shark Racing, Grandpa to Logan Schuhart, I believe, and Jacob Allen. Um, but yeah, legendary. That was kind of a David versus Goliath story, if you remember that. I think I remember him go karting right on the bottom like Danny Lasowski in taking the 1A to victory at Knoxville. That was back in the world where nobody, and I mean nobody, beat the King. Nobody beat Kinzer back then, right? And Bobby Allen kind of shocked the world. But yeah, sad to see Bobby Allen pass. So you guys got any Bobby Allen memories, or mainly that Knoxville one is kind of the big one, I'm guessing, right? Um we mentioned last week we're talking about entries to get in. People are like racing, the only world where you're paying to go entertain other people, right? And you asked, like, do they do that in NASCAR? Well, I had a buddy reach out that is on a NASCAR team, heavily involved with a NASCAR team. He's like, you think you guys pay to get into a soda racing? We pay a lot of money to enter and to get the crew in at NASCAR events too. So yeah, it's all realms of racing that you're paying entries and pit passes and crew licensing fees and all that stuff to get in. And it is just a head scratcher, right? And it makes a person think that, I mean, you go to and I get it, rodeos don't happen every weekend. But you go to a rodeo, jam packed. You go to a demo derby, jam packed. Is there just is there just too much racing to where,
Over saturation.
yep, I mean, it's just a supply and demand deal to where Bert, you said it, fans only have so much money to spend, and pretty soon it's like we're just entertaining ourselves. It's like, look what I did to me. I'm talking to myself, and it's like, I don't know. I mean, racing is
Well,
supposed to be the entertainment industry, but when you look at empty grandstands, the question is there. Who are you entertaining? That's a real question.
yeah, I mean, I've been saying this for probably the last 10 years, um, that like Eastern Wisconsin has too many racetracks. And I think it's kind of being proven now. Sturgeon Bay runs a very limited schedule. Beaver Dam is probably done after this year. It's eventually the market's gonna gonna do its thing, and you know tracks are gonna have some tracks, if they're not doing well, they're gonna close.
you
Tonga.
know, and not only too many tracks in some areas, there's too many specials, right? The days of a special race being special don't even freaking exist anymore, right? You take um your favorite track 141, right? As long as Bert's not there and it rains out, I mean, they're gonna have, five, six, seven specials a year. I mean, what happened to you have one, maybe two, depending on who you are, specials a year? I mean, especially in special if you do seven of them a year, just not.
That's why we call them not so's, right? Not
Right.
so special. And there are still a few that are. I mean, the Red Clay Classic, that's a special. I mean, big car counts, big fan count, but
Anything at
there
Eldora is special, but
anything at Eldora, right? So that is an interesting thing, and a person's really got to sit back and think to themselves, right? If you're a promoter right now, your life ain't easy. Being a promoter right now is tough, right? Trying to you, but you can't do the same thing that it was done in the 80s and 90s.
oh, oh.
It's we live in a different world. And I've said this a million times and I believe this to be true. In the 80s, right? And in the early 90s, it's not just streaming racing. We're doing a freaking pod. We're talking to each other on a screen right now. You didn't do that in the 90s. That wasn't a thing, right? The only people that did that was the Jetsons. That's who did that. Okay. We did not do that. Okay. So you think back, right? People are massively entertained every single day without leaving their house. They're entertained without leaving their house. You can sit and watch sports and movies and podcasts and racing and TV shows and do online gaming and I mean any
Oh,
number of things. Yeah, any number of things, right? But you got to figure out what is it that draws people to your facility. The diehard racers, like, I'm here for the racing. I would consider myself a diehard race fan. Racing's been in my blood since the day I was born. Okay, but I'll be completely honest with you. I do not go to the races to watch racing. I just simply do not. I can watch racing online pretty much every single day of the week. I do not need to go to the races to watch 9 fucking hours of racing there, Chris Steppen. I don't need to do that. Okay. Not interested. If I'm going to a racetrack, I'm going to visit with people and watch some racing. Bert, you said it before. Give me 3 hours, 3.5 hours. That's plenty. I don't need more than that. Okay. I don't. Maybe some people do. I do not. And I would say that the masses do not. But what is it that you can do to where that makes your place special enough to where people are like, I gotta go. I want to be part of that atmosphere, right? I believe it's creating a post race vibe. And that's not the only thing. There's got to be other things because it's like the carnival. Crash Carlson, like second dad to us, Chaga, like Crash is our boy, right? And
Mhm.
Crash has said this for 20 years. You got to have that carnival type mindset. Carnival type mindset, right? Bert, have you ever gone to the carnival, to the fair?
Well, yeah.
What is the one thing that you're excited about when you go to the fair?
Um,
Or
Maybe
when you were a
donuts.
kid, or when you were a kid, or now, or whatever. Give me
well,
something.
when I was a kid, I would play games.
Okay, games. Changa, you
Rides.
rides. And me, you see the cheeks right here? Mini donuts, gyros, fair food, right? You name it. Some people want to see the animals. Some people want to see the grandstand activities like the racing or the demo. Some people want to, there's the music,
Concerts.
the atmosphere, the concerts. There's a ton of different things going on at a carnival, right? The displays and the arts and I mean all kinds of different stuff, right? There's certain things that you go to the fair, it's like I have no interest in seeing that, but guess what? A whole bunch of people do, right? So you have to have something to where you're appealing to the senses of a lot of different groups of people. And right now, today, the world we live in is promoters in general. I'm not saying they all, some are trying different things, right? But in general speaking, their their whole intent and purpose is the race. And I get it. You're at a race. That is the number one thing, but that it can't be just that. There has to be way more than that going on. And if you want to survive, if you want to thrive in today's world, you got to figure that out. Crash Carlson mentioned that a long time ago. He was spot on, and that lives true even more so today.
And I don't know if this all goes anything together, but needless to say, Crash is involved over at the Gondik Law Speedway with Joe and Gussie and some people, right? And one of the things I noticed at a race over there last year, I took my daughter to the races, and of course, obviously, like you said, you spoke on it a little bit ago. You want to have good food, right? People love good food. We're all fat kids at heart, right?
Right.
But so they ran a program, and they had like 3 or 4 classes. The program got over in 3 hours or less. Then they had a live band on the stage, Victory Lane stage afterwards, and the program got over early enough so that fans and pit crews and drivers and people could gather on the front straightaway and watch this band for an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours. Shane Sabraski's out there, and everybody's out there. And the vibe afterwards with the fans, the drivers, the crews mingling together, having a couple cocktails, socializing, listening to some good music, that was a big deal, and it's something that I felt like they did really right. I've got pictures of my daughter out there, you know, at 10 years old enjoying herself at this thing, dancing with some other little girls. I mean, it was really, really cool. And you know uh, things like that shorten the program. We talked about this in the past also. Specials, right? Specials ain't for 9 classes. The special is for your premier classes. That's the goal for your lower division classes, to be able to be in a special someday, right? That's what you're shooting for. That's what you're trying to attain, is being in the special, because this is supposed to be a big deal, right? Now, if you do it for every class, how big of a deal is it really?
And guess what? If everybody had that mindset, and I get it. I personally believe the Hornets and the Pure Stocks put on the best racing right now. I said that a
I
million
can't
times. Okay,
disagree.
but
Street
with
stocks
that
too.
said, yep. But with that said, those drivers would still be at the races if there was that post race vibe. They want to be part of the atmosphere. It's like holy cow! You go to the Red Clay Classic, right? Guess what? All the 6-cylinder drivers, Pure Stock drivers, they're all
They're
at
out
the Red
there.
Clay. Every one of them, right? And the Silver 1000, same thing. So yeah, you're spot on. And I think it's gonna Some people are going to figure it out. Some people are not. We're going to have to see what happens. But it's we've been beating this drum for a long time, and I don't know. We'll have to figure it out, I guess. So we talked about Jamestown a couple weeks ago. That driver Lane Schwer got hurt over there, dumped his car. I was talking to some sources. Sounds like, first of all, he put a video out. Sounds like he's progressing and getting better, which that is super
That's
cool.
good to
Because
hear.
at first they're like, man, at first they're like, he's gonna be paralyzed from like the neck down. Like
Oh
that was a
no.
bad deal. But then now he's got movement in his arms, right? And he's starting to get movement. I don't know if he has movement in his legs. I've heard a couple different supports. I know he's got some appointments coming up here, but the outlook is
Pray.
looking far better. So just thoughts and prayers. Hopefully things are on the mend and going in the right direction. But I heard from some very, very reliable sources, and that if you were to put a straight edge along the bottom of his roll cage, okay, you follow me, the straight edge across. I was told that his helmet was not above the top of the roll cage, but it was certainly above the bottom of the roll cage. And I had a friend of mine kind of
Plank
looking
and just
online.
right in there, yeah.
Yeah, I had a friend looking online and looking at a lot of pictures, and you can just kind of go through on the internet and you can look at pictures of cars, and you can see there's taller people out there. Heads are really high in the roll cage. So when you take a hit and if something kind of bends, you're going to take that compression on your head. Now, I don't I don't know 1000% if that was the case, but my sources are telling me that that maybe have had something to do with it. When's the last time you saw a track, right? When's the last time you saw a track do a safety check at sitting there in line and going, holy shit, your head is above the roll cage?
Never.
It happens. Yeah, I've seen it. Right. I saw in Hibbing years ago, I was on the board, there was a pure stock guy. His head, guys, was an inch and a half higher than the top of the roll cage.
Oh my goodness gracious.
I'm like, you're not fucking racing. There's not a chance. You're gonna have to either A, lower your seat, tip it back, put more bars on top of your roll cage, something, but you ain't racing like that. That ain't happening, right? But most racers, me being one of them, are like, fine. I ain't worried about it. I'll be all right. I'll be good. You know, and that's how we think. Well, one time, that's all it takes. One time, and your life is forever changed. Forever, right? Forever. And all of us racers are a bunch of dumbasses, every single one of us, right? We're like, oh, I ain't more worried. I'm more worried about going fast. I ain't worried about that. I'm not worried about it. Well, somebody sure the hell needs to worry about it, right? And if that's the case, man, that's a sad deal. I don't know 100%, but that's pretty good sources. But promoters, drivers, I mean, this stuff's got to be checked out. Don't take safety for granted. It's just not worth it. I mean, we love racing, we love competing, but I'm telling you right now, you'll don't live to regret it. Be that person that says, I'm glad I did, right? Rather than saying, man, I wish I would have. And let that be a good lesson. So let's jump into another shout out here. East Central Sports, guys. East Central Sports in Rush City, Minnesota, just north of the Twin Cities. Mac and the gang over there, they're your number one source for pit bikes, kids ATVs, golf carts, Toro lawnmowers, and a whole lot more. Let them know that you heard about East Central Sports on the One to Go show. Get a $100 discount. You can give Mac a call, 320-358-1994, or you can reach him at www.eastcentralsports.com. So before we get into national championship trivia, we're getting, and Bert got me last week. Tip of the cap to Bert. He sniped me on that one. I still think you guys cheated, but hey, he had to give Bert some love there. He got John Canta. I was talking to a couple racers here, and we're talking about banquets. When I think national championships, I always think the banquet. I always had a good time down at Kelly Inn and heading over to the red carpet. It was fun, right? So Bert, did you know that if you don't go to the banquet, I believe they take 25. It used to be 50, but now they take, I believe, 25% of your winnings. They just keep that kind of as a penalty for not attending the banquet if you were in the top 10 or 15 in the points or whatever it may be. That's bullshit in my opinion, right? Because I talk to drivers that maybe don't live an hour from St. Cloud, right? Maybe they live 10 hours away or 12 hours away. You know, you got to remember, WISSOTA goes all the way to Montana and Wyoming and all these places. Well, holy shit, if you're coming from way out there, that's a hell of an expense, right? I mean, the banquet's on Saturday, you're going to have to take Friday off of work. I mean, you're going to have to. So now you got to take Friday off of work. You're going to have to drive there Friday. You're going to have to get a hotel room Friday. You got the banquet expense on Saturday. You got a hotel room Saturday night, and you got a whole day to drive home. It's expensive, right? So you look at, especially some of these lower classes, well, you look at how much you're getting paid for your point fund check as compared to how much you're spending to attend this thing with hotel rooms and fuel to get there and tickets to get in. There's a lot of drivers now that are like, I'm going to finish top 10 in points, but I am absolutely not driving all the way to St. Cloud. Like they can keep that 25%. I mean, the banquet's fun, it's all fine, but I'm not going to spend more to go to the banquet than I'm going to get in return. Financially, it just doesn't make sense. So I was thinking back when we were having conversation when I won the NASCAR Wheeling Series modified points over at the Spring Lake Speedway, and the modifieds were the Premier Division that year. All the Premier Division, AJ Demo won it at Cedar Lake. He was a late model that won it at Cedar. That was their Premier Division. We got 2 free hotel rooms and 2 free tickets to the banquet, and that was at Charlotte. Now we had to pay, I think we had to pay for our own airfare to get there, um, but we got 2 free hotel rooms night before, night of, and a ticket for yourself and for your, plus one, your significant other, or if you're single, a pit guy or whatever it may be, to go to the banquet. Now, should that be the case? Should series like WISSOTA spend some time solidifying some sponsorship money, doing a fundraiser, doing whatever they have to do? And if you're top 10 in points, should they comp you at least one night of the room and a couple of free tickets to get in, and then anybody else that comes in, they got to pay to get in? Your thoughts? I have my thoughts. I want your thoughts.
Well, I mean, obviously, perfect world, you would hope so, right? I mean, no, it's a huge expense. Figure the 2 tickets. I think you and I talked about this before. It's, take just a rough guess, $80,000, right? Is that what we discussed?
No, 40. Yeah,
Was it,
40.
was it 40?
Because
Okay,
yeah,
so
because there's top 10, 8 classes, it's 80, right? And if
yep,
you figure
200 bucks a night for a hotel.
yeah, and if you do 2 rooms, that's 200 and call it $40, each for tickets to
Each,
get
so
in. So $500, that's
480.
$40,000. And you could even do one of the nights or whatever, right? You could start there, but it'd be about 40 grand if you did the top 10 in all 8 classes. Okay,
Well,
is what it would be.
so obviously, perfect world, that would be the way it is. I mean, needless to say, a sanctioning body is going to have someone to go out and raise that money through sponsorship, to raise all the revenue to do something like that. It would be awesome. I mean, I remember back, I've been to a lot of them national banquets and they were a lot of fun, but it wasn't just the top 10 that went. I mean, everybody wanted to go back in them days, right? I mean, they had thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars worth of contingency prizes. I don't know if they still have that anymore, but it was worthwhile for a person to go down there just for the fun time and then maybe win some contingency prizes that made it worthwhile to even spend the money to go there. So I don't know whether it's contingency prizes or hotel rooms or what have you. It has to be worthwhile for people to go there.
Yeah, it's significantly less on that front now. And there's definitely less people that attend the banquet. And you got to remember, there used to only be 4 or 5 classes. Now they got 8. So now people are going, holy shit! Now I got to sit through like that long of a banquet ceremony with all these
Right.
classes and challenge series and all this stuff. Um, I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to help raising a fund, help raising the funds for that, doing a fundraiser, some kind of activity. There's a lot of different things that you could do as an organization to generate money, kind of as a thank you to your drivers. I had this talk actually with Barry Braun, and I don't know what they're going to do for a banquet this year. I'm not 100% sure, but that was his belief as well. He's like, why should the drivers that you're honoring have to pay to get into a banquet? That really don't make much sense, right? So, but you're right. I mean, there is an expense there that to be had, but that's not. Let's face it. It might be 200. It's probably less than that, but we're figuring high.
Mhm.
That's the retail. You know as well as I do that you get there's a room rate for the Wasota banquet. So they're not paying $200 for a room. I would have to think not. So they're getting a discounted rate already. And if Wasota came up and negotiated that and said, "Hey, we're gonna have the banquet here. We want to negotiate a rate," it would be.
For sure.
I think the very high end on that would be 40, but I truly believe that you could probably pull it off for 25,000, and I think it would be very, very easy, in my opinion, to generate $25,000 worth of sponsorship money as a thank you to the drivers. And hey, come to the national banquet on us. I think that would be a fantastic thing to do. Bert, your thoughts?
Well, it all sounds good if you can get the sponsorship to do that. But yeah, I mean, I agree. I think it's unfair that they take part of the winnings. If you don't show up, they take part of the winnings. I mean, do you, now when they report to the IRS, do they report the total winnings
Right.
before the 25% is taken out?
Well, they can't give you a 10, they can't give you a 1099 on money they didn't pay you, so that you'll get a 1099. And let's face it, some of those classes, if you're finishing far enough back, ninth, 10th, 8th, whatever, you're probably not getting your $600 from Wasota anyway, right? So you're not getting but yeah, it's there's just a lot of little things that could be done to just make the overall product better. So let's jump into it. National
You know what?
championship. Go
We
ahead.
didn't even touch on World Outlaw Sprints at all. Did you
Yeah,
want to touch on them at all?
we can. Let's do the national championship trivia, and then if you have something in specific you want to touch on the World of Outlaws, you can. Um, yeah. So last week, Bert got me. Right now I'm leading 10. Changa has 4. Bert has 2. You had John Canta. So I'm going to give the clues. Former national champion of Wasota Racing. Um, 3 wrong guesses and the other person wins. Okay. So this driver here, born in 1968, I
Oof.
believe he's 57 years old. So handful of years older than me. Okay. Um, this person at times raced double duty, and some of the classes this driver raced: street stocks, super stocks, modifieds, late models, raced a number of classes.
Kurt Gelling.
Nope.
Mm,
The modifieds he raced, to the best of my knowledge, were not Wasota modifieds, though. I believe this driver, when he did race modifieds, it was primarily USRA modifieds and some USMTS shows as well. This driver, this driver's a farmer by trade.
I don't want to waste my picks already.
um, this driver, I don't want to make it too easy on Changa here. So in 2003, this driver was a late model track champion at the Deer Creek Speedway.
Ooh, late,
This this
late
driver,
track champion.
late model track champion. This driver here
Green.
tumbled a dwarf car at Deer Creek and broke his leg or his arm, one of the two, in a nasty crash at the Deer Creek Speedway. This driver here, in 2003 at the Budweiser Shootout at the Casino Speedway in Watertown in the late models, first to John Canta, second to Kentar Ment, This driver got third, though. Fourth was Kurt Gelling, and fifth was John Seitz. So this driver got third in the late model feature at Casino Speedway that night. This driver here in a 2012 US MTS modified race got second in his heat, 10th in the feature at Mississippi Thunder.
Jesus.
John Tesh won that one. Joey Jensen got third, by the way. Jason Miller got ninth in that one. Kind of a couple names there.
We're gonna run out of things here. This is good clues.
This driver here not only raced with Soda late models, but also ran several WDRL late model events.
Got absolutely nothing.
This driver here won races at a lot of southern Minnesota tracks: Deer Creek Speedway, Dodge County Speedway, St. Charles Speedway. One over at the Fox Ridge Speedway in Arcadia, Wisconsin.
Don Shaw?
Nope.
No.
Amongst a bunch of other tracks as well.
Jesus.
A pretty crafty guy. This guy's a pretty crafty guy, fabricator. In fact, built race cars as well. He actually went on to build some race cars.
Some of the clues make me think it's a guy. Some of them make me think it's not a guy. How many clues you got left? Are you running out?
Originally, this driver was from Wanamingo, Minnesota. I believe that was where he was raised. It was Wanamingo, Minnesota.
Jesus.
I believe the last car that he raced was a modified. USRA modified would be the last car. He hasn't raced now for a number of years. To the best of my knowledge, it's been over a decade since this guy. So he no longer races. But in everything that he raced, I mean, he was highly competitive. I mean, he won in the streeters, he won in the supers, he won in the late models. I don't know. I'm assuming he did. I don't know if he did win races in the USRA modifieds or not. I'm not sure. I'm not positive on that. So in 2000, he was in the thick of it. He was in the thick of things for a national championship battle. I think he ended up getting third or fourth in the national title race that year. Did not quite get it done. Somebody came down to his stomping grounds that year and maybe took some wins from him.
Mark Teskey?
Mark Teskey is his guest. Builder of the XLI chassis, Spring Valley, Minnesota. 2002 Wasota Superstock National Championship. Yes, Mark Teskey is correct. Mark Teskey is correct.
Wow.
So yeah, so I was gonna, so Bert, me and Chonga went to Masters Built School, and Mark Teskey.
I was totally picturing a mod guy being what it was. I was thinking at first it was Brian Strand, then it was Lauren Johnson. I was all over the map.
Yeah, so yeah, that was, yeah, I couldn't find any big races that he won because I literally completely spaced that I was my turn to get. I was so used to winning this deal that I was used to giving the clues, and I are not used to giving the clues. But yeah, Mark Teskey was correct. So good job on that one. All right. So Mark Teskey, you remember him, Bert, number 41?
Yes, I remember him. We actually parked next to him at Channel Speedway when the Challenge Series was at Channel Speedway.
Really good guy. Really easy to talk to. Hell of a race car driver. Really good driver. He hasn't raced for a number of years. I'm not sure what he's up to now. So we'll jump into our pick'ems here. I guess we'll talk that, and then I'll let you touch on when we get to the schedule here. You can talk about sprint cars too. But Rain Man won week 40. Rain Man got her done this week, not by much. So the point standings right now, the 71A at 675. Chonga, you're 26 back at 649. Bert at 645, 30 points back. Rainman at 638, 37 points back. And then Governor at 624. So that would be 51 back. He's got some work to do. Dano in 6th, Uper in 7th, Coach in 8th, Worker Bee 9th, 2 points ahead of Tardy in 10th. Man Bun, Dan, Beefcake, and Bromance rounding out the field. So this week, guys, we're picking Saturday. We're picking the Hot Dish Nationals up at the Hibbing Speedway, which is officially I guess it wouldn't officially be the final race of the year. That would probably end up being Fergus because their features will be done later. So one of the last ones. So we're picking that. We're going to pick the Gopher State Showdown at the I-94 Speedway in Fergus Falls. It's Super Dirt Week, guys. The Billy Whitaker Cars 200 for the beasts of the Northeast, the Super Dirt Car Series Big Block Modifieds at Oswego, New York. That's on Saturday. World of Outlaw Late Models, the Bayou Classic, Boot Hill Speedway, Greenwood, Louisiana, Friday and Saturday. Hunt the Front Late Model Series Finale, Blue Gray 100 Cherokee Speedway, Gaffney, South Carolina. The O Show, Jimmy Owens, 2 points ahead of Zach Mitchell going into the weekend. Friday and Saturday, High Limit Sprint Cars, Heartland of America Showdown, Lakeside Speedway in Kansas City. Friday and Saturday, World of Outlaw Sprint Cars, New Egypt, New Jersey on Friday, Lincoln, Pennsylvania on Saturday. Then we're picking the Southern National season finale non-points race on the Dixie Speedway. What is that? Woodstock, Georgia. Garrett Smith won that series, by the way, the Southern Nationals. And then we're picking the Race for Hope 71 IMCA modifieds down in Batesville. And then we do have a couple makeup shows. We got the late models and super stocks for the King of Dirt. We already made those picks. So, Changa, before we get into the bold predictions, yeah, what did stick out in the world of Outlaw sprint cars in the buggy action? I know they were up at Williams Grove for
Yeah.
a double header up there for the national. What was the National Open?
Yeah. So I mean, that's kind of a big deal. That's one of their crown jewel events. Night one, it was a podium sweep for the PA posse. Chase Dietz, Lance Deweese, and Danny Dietrich on the podium there, sitting the World Outlaw guys down for a night.
And the best guy wasn't even there. You mentioned that.
Right,
You're like, Anthony Macary's kind of been the best guy, and he's injured right now. So
right. That might, I don't know, but that might have been Dietz's first win at that track this year or something that I had heard, but I don't remember what the exact details were. But yeah, heck of a job by the PA posse guys. Then night two, that was a banger of a race, really. I mean, Sheldon Hodenschild ended up getting it done. Danny Dietrich and Bill Baylog side by side to the finish, with Dietrich second and Baylog third. So a really nice week for Dietrich with a third and a second. I guess something else interesting. So Sheldon wins that 75,000, right? And it's kind of already been announced that him and his crew chief are leaving the team after the year. They're going to go somewhere else, right? Well, after that race, team owner fires the crew chief.
Oh, really?
Done for the year. Hired a new crew chief, right? So new crew chiefs coming aboard for this weekend. 2 pit guys quit. Okay, so now they got driver, crew chief, and they're looking for 2 more pitmen so they can even, have some sort of a team for the weekend. So,
Are you bored this week? We should give him a call. What are we doing?
right. I know nothing about a sprint car, but yeah. So that's all I got on that.
Interesting. Rough week for Donnie Schatz. He didn't make the feature the first night. He got 22nd the second night. Yeah, he was just awful. So I hate to see it. That's our boy. We want to see him run up front, but
he's auditioning for his new team right now.
yeah, it's not going real good. It's not going really good. So we'll close this deal out, guys, with our bold predictions here. We had a few come off the board, and we make 3 predictions every week. Keep track of ones we got right, winning percentage. So Bert, you had 2 come off the board from weeks back. Show number 253 earlier this year, quite early in the year. You said T-Mac would have 5 or more World of Outlaw late model wins this year. You got win number 5 with the World of Outlaws this weekend. Good job, Bert. Then back in the beginning of May, this was long before we were worried about Shano only getting 2 cars every single night. episode number 258, you said Andy Carl, right? Would win
Yes.
the late model points at Shawano. He did. Congratulations. You got 2 right there. But you also had these ones here. You said Lucas Oil Dirt late models. There'd be a little payback. You said Huddy would dump RTJ at Pittsburgh. Well, RTJ dumped himself with the flat tires, so that did not happen. And you said Benji Lacrosse would win one and get a podium at Luxie. He did win in the mod. He did win in the mod, but he did not make the feature. I don't know what happened to the stock car. Must have broke, because him not making a feature is pretty rare. So I'm sure something
Or maybe
happened.
he wasn't. Maybe he didn't even race it. I didn't look.
He did. He did.
Oh, he did. Okay.
Yeah, he didn't finish the B. I'm not
Okay.
sure what happened in the heat. Yep. So Uper had 3 come off the board. He said Donnie Schatz would get a pair of top 10s this weekend.
Ooh, yeah.
No, not so much. But he did say this. He said Josh Richards would make both A mains. So not only did he make him, he got a top 10 one night, 17th and a 9th for young man Rocket.
Good job, Uper.
And then he said this. He said the Iron Man, Shane Sabraski, he'd have 3 top 5 finishes, at least 2 podiums, and at least 1 win at the Fall Classic. Well, he got 4th in the modified, 3rd in the late model, and 1st in the super. So Uper got that one correct. Good job, Uper. Changa, you had 2 come off the board. Not a good week for Changa.
Yeah, no, I failed miserably.
You said Mars Mod podiums, all Mike, Michael, Mikey, something like that. Thank you, Cole Falloway. I called it last week. I said, let's go Cole Falloway. You got a pair of 3rds in that one. He sniped you. And then you said BP 32, Bobby Pierce would get a win and a podium, and he got a 4th and an 11th. So my week sucked too. Hey, I got 3 incorrect as well. I said Pat Dower in the late models, Jody Belfi in the mods, Sabraski in the super, Vandy in the Midwest mods, Jimmy Gullickson in the streeters, and Dustin Holtquist would all get top 5 finishes. Belfi, Sabraski both got 1st. Gullickson got 5th. Holtquist got 2nd. Vandy and Dower DNF'd. So that I should have just went with less than all of them, I guess. But then I said in this specific order would be your finishing, your basically your 4 championship drivers in the chase for the Lucas Oil. I said it would be this order for best average finish: RTJ, JD, Moran, Huddy. Flip flop Moran and RTJ, because it was Moran, JD, RTJ, Huddy. Moran had a great week in the 1st and the 3rd. Don't get too much better than that. So I get that one wrong. And then I said either Joey or Shane, right? Joey Jensen, Shane Sabraski. One of them or both would gain on the point leader. They both stayed status quo. They're both even. So after this week, we got a new leader in the clubhouse. Brand new leader there, Changa. Brand new leader. Correct predictions, Uper at 26, Changa at 25, I'm at 23, and Bert's at 17. Correct percentages, Uper at 39.4, I'm at 39, Changa at 38.5, Bert at 28.8. So that one is super, super close up top. That is close. All right, boys. So let's make 3 predictions. Let's go around the room here. 3 predictions to close out this show.
Yeah, let's do Uper's first so I know what the hell he's bunted on.
Yeah, we can do that. We'll do Uper's. We'll go Bert. We'll go Changa. We'll come back to me. We can do that. That's fine. So Uper's first prediction. Hibbing Speedway Hot Dish Nationals. There will be 10 or less cars that attend in all classes combined that come from over 120 miles away using MapQuest.
Oh, God, who's going to do that work?
Well, that's easy enough. I'll do that. I mean, I told him I think that's a bunt. I mean, because it's not like a big 2-day show or whatever. Now I do know this. It sounds like
no class will have more than 10 guys coming from further.
All classes combined, 10 or there'll be 10 or less total
from
over
120
miles away.
Yeah, I think that's going to happen for sure.
I do too. I think that's a bunt. I think there's a couple Thunder Bay drivers coming down, but I think that's a bunt. I really do. Hopefully a bunch of Wisconsin guys come. I'm not really sure. All right, Bert, what's your first one?
Punt the front. What's the point difference?
2 points.
2 points.
2 points. I'm gonna say Jimmy Owens will not win the championship.
So by saying that, are you saying Zach Mitchell will? Or you're just going with Jimmy Owens will not?
I'll say I'll say Mitchell will.
Okay.
Well, that just erased one of mine.
All right. So you're saying Zach Mitchell will win the Hunt the Front championship. Okay. Okay.
All right. I'm going to go bold on one of them. The other ones I'm going to freaking bunt. I'm just going to be like kickball or some shit here.
Chonga's bold. There will be racing this weekend.
I'm going to say RTJ will not finish top 2 in the points at the
That's
end of the
bold.
Lucas Oil.
That is bold. Only one race to go.
1 race to go. He's got a 100-point lead over JD. So he's got a DNF.
That's bold. That's bold. That sucks for RTJ because I mean he's
100%.
Yeah, get rid of the chase. He wins 3 in a row. I'm gonna go Gopher State Showdown. You want to see a bunt? Here's a bunt.
No.
The races will end after midnight. Feature races will end after midnight.
Well, wait till you see my next one. Yeah, if you're going to do that.
Feature races will. Now, they start at 5. If it goes beyond 7 hours, that's a fucking travesty, right? But I'm pretty confident. I think he can get the job done. I think it's going to go past
What
midnight.
the hell?
All right. Uper's second prediction. I'm going to kind of add 2 Berts here, okay? Because he also says that Zach Mitchell's going to win the Hunt the Front championship. But in doing so, he's going to get 2 podiums, and at least one of them will be a win this weekend.
Oh.
And if they only race one night, say one rains out, that night he will win. So he's going to get 2 podiums with at least one win and the championship. If only one night happens, he's going to win the race and the championship. So he noted here that for those pussies like Bert and Chonga, I don't bunt. That's what he said right here. All right, Bert. What is your second one?
All right.
I think his first one was the biggest bunt I've ever seen.
Yes. Pretty close.
All right. Chonga thought he was going bold, and I was thinking of this before he did that, but I am going to say Superman will fly high and win the Lucas Oil Championship.
Wow. All right.
Can I have some what you're smoking? Can I borrow some? All right. All right, Chonga.
Well, since they sniped me on mine, I guess I got to go the other way. I'm going to say Jimmy Owens will win the points, but he will not win either night.
That's bold. Okay. I'm going to go with my second one here. So there's a driver right now in the National Late Model Series, 13 race winless streak. 13 race winless streak for Chonga's boyfriend, Bobby Pierce. 8 straight nights off the top 2. 8 straights off the top 2. One of those nights he got 3rd. So in his last 8 races, the best finish he got was 3rd. One time, 13 straight winless streaks for Bobby Pierce. That's pretty rough this time of year, don't you think?
Well, ever since he put that pink car together.
Right.
Well, he hasn't had a new chassis in like 3 months, and that's probably the big deal, right?
Yeah, he's going to turn it around this weekend.
I would have to hope so.
Pair of podiums, at least one win. Pair of podiums, at least one win. If only one race happens, it'll be a podium.
It won't be a win, just a podium? Correct. How about a top 2? Can we do a top 2?
Nope. Pair of podiums, at least
that's
one
what he
win.
would have done to me, right, Bert?
Yeah, we're good. Pair of 13 race winless streak. Pair of podiums, at least one win this weekend for Bobby Pierce. If one race happens, it's a podium. All right. Uper's third and final prediction. The combination of David Gravel and Buddy Kofoid will have a better average finish than Rico Abreu and Brad Sweet this weekend in sprint car action.
Oh.
Okay, if there's a rainout at any of the events, the only night that counts is the night where they both race. So if one of them rains out on Saturday, but they both race Friday, then Friday is the only night we pick. Okay.
Okay.
So Gravel, Kofoid, better average finish than Rico, Abreu, and Brad Sweet. All right, Bert, your third and final.
All right, I'm going to go World of Outlaws and say Nick Hoffman will have a better average finish than Changa's boy, Bobby Pierce.
Okay. Okay. Nick Hoffman, better average finish than Bobby Pierce. All right, Changa, what say you?
Oh God! I'll go the opposite of Uper, and I'll say Sweet and Rico have the better average. Than same exact thing, only I'm going to take Sweet and Rico instead of Gravel and Kofoid.
You can go opposite on that. Fair enough.
Well, why not?
Okay. I'm going to take a Gopher State Showdown prediction here. Okay, I'm going to do a little parlay here. Okay, these 5 drivers. In the late model, Tyler Peterson. In the modified, Dusty Bitson. In the super stock, Shane Sabraski. In the Midwest mod, Brandon Waite. In the street stock, Kyle Dykoff. At least 3 of the 5 will finish top 5. At least 2 of them will be on the podium, and at least 1 will win, not counting the makeup features.
Yep.
So at least 3 in the top 5, at least 2 on the podium, at least 1 of those drivers wins.
Hey, give me the names again.
Tyler Peterson in the late model, Dusty Bitson in the mod, Sabraski in the super, Brandon Waite in the Midwest mod, Kyle Dykoff in the street.
Yep.
And I'm not even 100% sure if they're all going. I'm assuming they are. The only one I'm probably not sure about is Brandon Waite. I would think the other ones would be there for sure, but I would assume Brandon Waite will be there too. But yeah, that's it to close it out. That's what was that, episode 279 there in the book. So I guess to close out, what are you guys looking forward to most this weekend before we wrap this baby up, Bert?
Well, I'm looking forward to the Brewers winning their series in baseball. But but racing wise, I always like a good points battle. So the Hunt the Front late models is going to be a good one to watch because I love close points battles where you have to see where the drivers are during the race.
I'm very intrigued by that one too. I will be tuned into that for sure. Hunt the Front TV. How about you, Changa? Okay, besides I'm jacked up about hockey in racing.
I'm super excited for the IMCA Mods Race for Hope down at Batesville. Right?
Yeah, okay.
Yep.
You're
So
full of
that's the
shit.
one I'm looking. That's the one I'm looking the most forward to.
I call bullshit on that one, but
I think
okay.
it's going to be a good. I think it's going to be good.
You know what I'm most intrigued by? I'm most intrigued to see if Joey Blake, right, Tyler, one of them guys in the mods and Midwest mods in Wasota,
Guys
if
to do the
one of
daily.
them, if they pull off the daily double deal, if they do that, I want to see Joey. And I'm a fan of both. I'm kind of Tyler Vernon, kind of like I'm cheering him on right now, right? Because I feel like he's the underdog in this deal. Um, he's leading now, so he's
You want to
definitely
see
not
him
the
get
underdog.
back and make
Yeah,
it a thing, though.
yeah, but I
That would
do,
be
I
cool.
do. I think it would be cool to see Joey win the heat night number 1 at Fergus
Go to Hibbing.
to see how this all plays out.
Right.
Tyler Verna be sweating bullets, right? It'd be max stress level,
Get this
extreme
program
high.
moving. Why are
Yes.
they farming?
Yes. But I want to see, I would like to see that happen. But with that said, good luck, good luck to everybody this weekend. The main ones right now, the players in the national championship battle in the mod, Blake Adams, Shane Sabraski. In the Midwest mods, Tyler Vernon, Joey Jensen. Best man wins, right? Good luck to all the contenders here this weekend. Have fun with it. I mean, you look back way down the road when you're done racing, these intense national championship battles. I mean, I had somebody mention here just a while back, when I was in Ashland, actually, Sailor, right? You know, he's like, we're talking about some of the best finishes and all that, and he brought up the national.
Oktoberfest.
Yep, he brought up Proctoberfest, the national championship battle with me and Moss, and you look back years down the road, and it's like them are some good memories. So enjoy the hunt, and I know it'll be stressful for a few people for a few more days here, but enjoy it. So good luck to everybody, and thanks for tuning in to the One to Go Show.